A very good afternoon and welcome along to this fifth virtual MotoGP race. This time we've got yourselves another Grand Prix with MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 all on the billing. This is the Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix. Jack Appleyard and Jack Ghost with you once again for the next hour or so. And with obviously recent news dictated that unfortunately in 2020 we won't be able to make it to Silverstone this year. Hopefully we can go some small way of filling that void over the next hour or so and at least put smiles on British race fans' faces and fans around the world, with obviously the British Grand Prix being a huge loss to the MotoGP Championship this year.
It certainly is, Jack. And as you say, we do have three classes of action coming up for you. First, we do have the MotoGP class, and joining with them, we do have bona fide MotoGP legend in the form of Jorge Lorenzo racing with us this afternoon. And then also after that, we have the Moto2 guys. And after them, finally, it will be the Moto3 guys lining up here in Silverstone.
Yeah, plenty of action coming your way. We're going to hear from the MotoGP riders very shortly, so don't go anywhere. Before that, though, let's find out who's going to be on pole position. This is what happened in qualifying earlier on today with a bit of a surprise. Here's how the MotoGP riders will line up for this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix. On the outside of the front row is going to be the Idemitsu LCR Honda of Taka Nakagami, a best ever virtual MotoGP qualifying for the Japanese rider. Second on the grid will be Fabio Quartararo. Already has 3 pole positions to his name in his virtual MotoGP series, but he had to settle for second today because pole position went the way of the returning wildcard Jorge Lorenzo. Back on a Yamaha and back on pole position. The number 99 will start a MotoGP race from the front of the grid for the first time since Aragon 2018. It took this final lap of the session to jump ahead of Fabio Quartararo, meaning we'll have a Yamaha 1-2 here at Silverstone. Tito Rabat front row number 2 ahead of Michele Pirro and Lorenzo Savadori, with both Joan Mir and Pecco Bagnaia unable to set a lap. There we go then, that's exactly how these 8 MotoGP riders are going to line up for this 10-lap virtual British Grand Prix, and it's quite the surprising grid, a little bit topsy-turvy with our championship leader as such, with no Alex Marquez and no Maverick Vinales here. Last on the grid having not set a lap. We'll speak to Pecco Bagnaia very shortly, but the headline from it is that in his debut, MotoGP legend Jorge Lorenzo takes pole position. Congratulations, Jorge. First time on pole since Aragon in 2018. Welcome to the virtual MotoGP races. What's that, sorry?
I say a long time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago. Hopefully, the first corner at Aragon. What was that again?
When I was young and fresh.
It looks as though you're in good condition here. You must have been doing a lot of practice, Jorge.
Well, I was practicing the last 3 days when the game was updated. So every night at 10 o'clock, I make some match with some friends and we practice a little bit.
It's looking pretty good. As I say, first time on pole position since Aragon 2018. Now, I'm sure you've seen the past virtual MotoGP races, but normally turns number 1 can be quite chaotic. So for your sake, I hope that this race doesn't go the same way as Aragon 2018 did for you, and you can avoid the likes of Taka Nakagami behind you.
Yeah, they told me Taka, it's a little bit striker. So he's in the first row, as we are with Fabio. So yes, we hope that he have a terrible start and he's behind in the first corner.
Well, best of luck, Jorge, and welcome along to this virtual MotoGP series as well.
Thank you.
And just as Jorge said there, we do have Fabio lining up next to him on the front row of the grid. Fabio, it was in fact your last lap there in qualifying that just put you into that second position. It was pretty close to the pole position, but it's not a bad starting position for you anyway.
Yeah, actually I tried to do 2 laps before and I crashed. So I'm lucky to don't do like Joan and Pecco, because at least I have 1 lap. So that's important. But I didn't practice like last time in Misano. But anyway, the most important is to have fun and try to don't crash 20 times in a race.
Well, he still looks pretty fast. Maybe he can finally get that victory he's been looking for in the last 4 races.
Yeah, there's pressure on for Fabio because, of course, with tomorrow being June, it does mean that hopefully MotoGP's return is closing in, and we may well be the final virtual MotoGP race that we see for some time. So this is it, Fabio. It could well be a last chance for you to pick up the win. Best of luck. Joining both Jorge and Fabio on the outside of the front row, a great result for Taka Nakagami. Well done, Taka. Front row start. Hopefully you can avoid any carnage, and there could well be a race win on the cards for you.
Well, I'm pretty happy the first time on first low, so this is good. But really difficult, the race is 10 laps, and it will be very long, and hopefully no mistake, because when I was at practice, I'm not able to more than 3 laps, so hopefully that and stay on the bike.
Yeah, well done, Taka. Good performance from him, and an even better performance from the next man.
Certainly, it was a fantastic performance for Tito to end up 4th place in grid and qualifying. But Tito, just saw you stretching out your forearm there. Maybe a little bit of arm pump coming in already.
Yes, for sure. No arm pump in the MotoGP here at the start, but also sweating the hands. But it's nice. We have a little bit this feeling, and let's try to have some fun. Of course, if Jorge just practice 3 days, me is the first time that I play this game. I have to learn a little bit how it's going, but at the end, sure will be super nice race.
Tito, as ever, not telling us the truth for how many practice laps he's got in.
There we go. He's going to be joined on the second row by Michele Pirro. Michele, second row, a best grid start for you. Are you hoping for a best result?
Yes, so it's my third virtual race, and I hope improve the speed compared Misano, because in Misano is my first game with a new PlayStation. But so I'm enjoyed. I training a little bit more compared Misano, and I hope to try the maximum. And Lorenzo is very fast. Test rider of Yamaha, Lorenzo is very fast. So follow, but it's a long race. I hope coming back at the end of the race.
Yeah, everyone's
if we are lucky, he's not back in the start.
What was that, Fabio?
I mean, if we are lucky, he's not in his seat. Maybe we can start the race.
Yeah, I know. So
we might have to hurry up quickly then.
Let's crack on. Next man on the grid is Lorenzo Savadori, Jack.
6th place on the grid. Lorenzo, last time you were pretty good in Misano in the first few laps. I think you're in 4th place. Hopefully, if you don't have that small crash, we might see you a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yes, in Misano was make a good race, but after I make a mistake at the last lap. Now the game is different, the physics are completely different, and it's not simple. The races are very, very long, but it's important, don't make a mistake. Let's make some fun with my new Aprilia GP20 here.
Perfect, Lorenzo. Let's hope it works out for you this time.
Row 3 of the grid, having not set a lap, is Joan Mir. Joan, of course, this is the virtual Michelin British Grand Prix. So I think tyre choice, as always, are going to be extremely important here. Do you know what tyres you're going to go with on the front and the rear yet? I've heard a lot of conversation between everybody. I don't think there's any real conclusion as to what the best tyre option is going to be.
Well, sincerely, I didn't have the opportunity to try all the tires. In Misano, I trained more than now, and well, we will see what's happened. I think that the medium will be the choice, I think, for everyone, if I'm correct. But anyway, we will see. Let's enjoy. I was not able to set a lap, but for sure the race is much more laps. I will have more opportunities.
Good luck, John.
And one man that needs a big opportunity to try and get himself from where he is on the back row. Pecco, it's not exactly the best position for you, seeing as 2 of your main rivals aren't competing in this race. So maybe what's a position you can get up to in this race?
I don't know. After the new update, I'm really struggling on this game. It's impossible for me to finish a lap without a crash. So Let's see what happened, but I think my pace is good if I don't crash, but it's something that is very easy to make, so let's see the race.
Certainly is. Well, the grid seems to be on its head a little bit here, Jack. We'll have to see how this race plans out.
Yeah, there's lots of storylines going into it. Pecco Bagnaia, to win this virtual championship or at least take control of it, needs to finish on the podium. 16 points he's behind Alex Marquez, who sadly couldn't be here for this one. So that's what he's going to be aiming for. Meanwhile, at the front, it's the battle of the two Yamahas. Jorge Lorenzo, the wild card, on pole position. Meanwhile, he's joined with Fabio Quartararo right next to him. Before we go racing, we're going to need Jorge to take his seat because we're only a couple of seconds away. So Jorge, you can just jump into your virtual racing seat there. Once you're in position, we can get going. Ready to go?
Yes.
Good. Right, Jorge's ready. Unfortunately, Fabio wanted us to start before him, but we need to give him a chance.
Certainly do, yeah.
So everyone's in place. 8 MotoGP riders, 10 laps of Silverstone. Get ready for the virtual Michelin British Grand Prix.
Jorge, quindi dura o media dura?
Dipende della moto.
As the talk continues of which rear tyres everyone is going to use here at the Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix. The choice of rear Michelins is the talk of the town, Jack.
Certainly is. The banding around everything, soft, medium, hard, and it seems we've got all sorts of different combos.
Soft media, Pecco.
There's just someone just saying to Pecco that they're going to have soft medium. It might have been Pirro who said that there.
Yeah, I think Michele Pirro going with a soft medium. I swear that Jorge said he's looking at the medium hard. So let's see. There's lots of different tyre choices gone on between the 8 guys. I think we've got every single possibility between all 8 of them. But for the first time in quite some time, Jorge Lorenzo on a Yamaha on pole position. Oh, that is quite exciting to say, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Here he goes, the number 99 starts from pole and gets a great start. Meanwhile, unsurprisingly, Taka Nakagami pulling a wheelie all the way down to the opening corner. Fabio Quartararo squeezes up the inside though, sends Lorenzo wide. Joan Mir's gone down, along with Lorenzo Savadori as well, but it's Quartararo that leads on the opening lap here at Silverstone as Taka Nakagami just cleans out Jorge Lorenzo.
Yep, Taka Nakagami, he's done it again. He's absolutely cleaned out someone on the first lap. It seems the kamikaze reputation has returned for us here in Silverstone. But he leads, he's gone straight through into the lead. He's gone underneath El Diablo there, sorry, trying to put on my words. And he's through into the lead at the end of the straight on lap 1.
Taka Nakagami leads, who would have thought it? Well, the fact that he's taken out Jorge Lorenzo means it doesn't matter whether you're a current Repsol Honda rider or an ex-Repsol Honda rider. He's coming for you. Meanwhile, there goes Quartararo. He's gone down. No fault of Nakagami this time. Quartararo is trying to slip up the inside of Nakagami, but got it all wrong, and he's crashed out.
Certainly has, and now look who's into second place. It's Pecco Bagnaia, and we know how quick he is. He's a man that's won one of these Grand Prix before, so let's see if he can come through on Nakagami, and come into the lead by the end of lap 1.
Remember, he needs to finish on the podium to jump ahead of Alex Marquez in this virtual world championship. I thought he was going to properly dive bomb him there. And there he goes again, he's gone down. Bagnaia's gone down. Well, that's a very rare mistake from Pecco Bagnaia, crashing out. Normally we see the Italian is fairly unflappable. The only mistake I can think of is what happened at Jerez when he was leading the race. But to crash out on the opening lap is not like Pecco Bagnaia at all. And what a top 3 this is, Jack. Taka Nakagami leads from Michele Pirro from Tito Rabat.
Yeah, certainly. And I don't know if you saw the line that Tito took there into the final little complex, but he missed the apex by about 7 nautical miles. So yeah, he completely outbraked himself coming down at the end of the back straight.
It's worked though. He's suddenly popped into second place though, ahead of Michele Pirro. Well, you've got some good odds on this one. At the end of lap 1, a chaotic lap 1 where Quartararo and Lorenzo, the 2 fastest men in qualifying, have both crashed out. It's Nakagami that leads, ahead of Tito Rabat, ahead of Michele Pirro. Who would have thought it? We'll have another 10 more laps, or 9 more now of that, if we can, please.
Yeah, I don't know if my heart rate can take all that. And what we have now is quite an interesting little setup, really. Historically, we've seen that El Diablo has been pretty quick. He's been really fast as Fabio, so we're going to see if he can try and come through these guys and make it way back to the front. Because traditionally, Taka Nakagami and Tito Rabat, they're normally not quite as fast as Fabio has been in these last few races.
Yes, if he can stop making mistakes though, Fabio Quartararo, he said it himself. in all opening 4 virtual races. He just crashes too much. He's got the pace. If he could cut the crashes out, he would have won all 4 races, because he's taken, what, 3 pole positions. He was second here at Silverstone as well, so he's got the pace, but unfortunately it's the crashes that have cost him dearly. Let's see if he can try and battle back after that one on the opening lap. He's got Michelin in his sights, the first of the 3 ahead of him.
Certainly has been, and that's quite a scary look back from Michelin there as we see Fabio closing in, but not just that. Jorge Lorenzo's in the background as Fabio's up the inside of him. He's going to try to get the drive coming onto the back onto the straight. He's underneath Michelin and up into 3rd place.
He's done it. Fabio's through up to 3rd place now. It's Quartararo. Who's next? Tito Rabat, less than 2 seconds ahead of him as well. Pirro will look to respond here around the outside. That's brave. I'm not sure that's going to work, or maybe it is. I spoke too soon. There we go. Super move from Michelin Pirro. I think it helps that Quartararo himself made a little bit of a mistake getting up on the curbs on the inside, but Quartararo's responded well and is now back in front of Pirro. Here's our race leader then, still controlling the race after 2 laps now. Taka Nakagami. Unflappable though, you can see him down in our bottom right hand corner sort of. There, the Japanese rider, full focus, moves the head left and then right as he goes through Maggots and Beckett. He's got a bit of an advantage as well, just under 2 seconds ahead of Tito Rabat.
Certainly. As Pecco's gone down, it's a nightmare for Pecco's. Another one that's cost him at the start. 2 early mistakes, and it seems that all his work is going to be far too much to catch up to the front guys now.
It looks as though that possible championship lead is just slipping through his fingers, Bagnaia, when he saw the entry list and there was no Alex Marquez, there was no Marc Marquez, there was no Maverick Vinales, the men that have regularly been competing with him aside from Fabio Quartararo. He would have thought that a comfortable victory was going to come his way, but 2 crashes already means he's all the way down in 7th place, Pecco Bagnaia. Who would have thought that? Meanwhile, here's the man making his debut, the wild card, Jorge Lorenzo. Pirro's already been picked off by 1 Yamaha man in the form of Fabio Quartararo. Here goes Lorenzo looking to go around the outside. No way through there. This is where he was taken out on the first lap, remember, by Taka Nakagami. Or is it? No, it's not. I'm getting my corners mixed up here. At Silverstone, meanwhile, Pirro's got through back up the inside of Lorenzo. I don't think Jorge was best pleased with that one.
Certainly not. Got completely cut off there by Michelin Pirro, and then Michele's used that parallel caddy to run off down the straight there. Jorge's gone a little bit too deep coming down into Brooklands. We're going to see him try and fling it around. As we cut to, who's this? This is Fabio and Tito. And Fabio's just collected the front end of Tito, then he's gone down. I don't really know how Tito didn't go down there. Usually when it's rear wheel versus front wheel loses.
But Tito somehow has got away with it.
¿Pero te has caído, Tito?
Hit you. Johan Mir's gone down again. It's turned into a very good race for Johan again. He's all the way down in last place, unfortunately. As we just cut back to Lorenzo again, stalking, hunting Michelin Pirro coming through the Maggots and Beckett's complex to see if he can get in the slipstream, coming onto the hanger straight and fire his way past. He doesn't even need the straight. He's already through into 3rd place. Now the next man on his list is Tito Rabat.
Fabio fairly perplexed there that Tito didn't crash out as well. I definitely heard Fabio moaning, saying, "Te has caído, Tito? Have you crashed, Tito?" Tito quite abruptly just went, "No." "Did you?" Here's Jorge Lorenzo then. He's up to 3rd place. He's got the better of Michelin Pirro. And as we're getting into about half race distance here, this is where the tyre choices are certainly going to start to come into effect now. Whether those have gone for a soft option will certainly start to be lacking rear grip, whereas those hard tyres that may not have been superb in the opening laps will start to come into their own. It's going to be interesting to see whether the likes of Nakagami and Tito Rabat, who have struggled in races previous, went for a softer option just to try and go with the race leaders in the opening laps, and whether the likes of Lorenzo, who know he's got pace on the 1 lap dash and throughout a race distance as well, may have gone for a slightly harder compound to try and help himself in the fight that I'm sure he was predicting to have with Fabio Quartararo. It's not gone that way at the moment. It's a fairly surprising top 3 with Nakagami still leading the way. Fair play to Nakagami. Normally has made the odd mistake here or there in races previous. As Pecco Bagnaia has a third crash, it's been an absolute nightmare for Bagnaia. There's absolutely no chance he's going to finish on the podium now, is there? And that means any chance of him topping this virtual championship at the end of this one has gone. It's going to be Alex Marquez, the only two-time race winner, is going to sit pretty at the top of this virtual championship despite not even being here.
Certainly, it seems that maybe Pecco's gone the wrong way with the tyre choice. We're seeing that those tyres he's chosen, we're not too sure what he went for, but whatever he's gone for, they may not be working out too well for him. As we now see Johan Mir just at the back of the field again. You've seen him chuckling along to himself every time he's crashed, but he's just trying to close in on Lorenzo Savadori ahead of him. Now, back to the mid-pack. Fabio Quartararo, that's just Michele Pirro in front of him. We all know that those two got a little bit close for comfort last time they were together on track in this race. So we'll see if he can close them in. As we come into, it is now lap 5, so yes, the second half of the race. And as Jack has said, those tyres, they're really going to start to come into their own on whatever choice they've taken.
Mistake from Pirro there. It's going to allow Quartararo to close in as they go past the wing on the right-hand side there. Quartararo is surely in pole position to move into 4th place, and there he goes up the inside. So Fabio now back through into 4th place. He's got Lorenzo 2 seconds up the road. Oh, as Nakagami goes down, the race leader crashes out, tucks the front, and Tito Rabat won't be able to believe his luck. He's leading the race. Well, if he had sweaty palms beforehand, and arm pump as well, he's certainly got it now. Big smile on the face of Tito, and now Jorge Lorenzo is up to 2nd place, and he's talking to Tito as well. I think he was just saying then, don't worry mate, I'm coming, I'm coming.
Certainly is, he definitely is coming for him. As we just see Tito go wide there in Brooklands, coming down towards the end of this 5th lap. Tito's probably already feeling pressure, as we said, and that arm pump, as you say, Jack, is definitely coming into play. He's got to be nervous, surely.
Oh, Lorenzo with a brave line there through the final corner. He's on the grass on the inside.
Hey, it worked though. Look at that, fastest lap of the race, a 55.4, only to be smashed out of the park by Fabio, and then Fabio smashes himself out of the park at turn 1. Down he goes, and now that will drop him, what, 5th, 6th maybe? Maybe Pecco can catch up to him.
Certainly looks like he's throwing away any chances of winning this race. He crashes, he closes in, he gets to within a sniffing distance away, and then bins it again. So Quartararo, I think now we can probably put a nail in this in his virtual British Grand Prix. Back at the front though, and it's Rabat and Lorenzo. It's going to come down to one of these two, surely. Nakagami, well, he's in contention as well. He's only 2nd adrift of Jorge Lorenzo. So Rabat, Lorenzo and Nakagami all in contention here with still 4 laps remaining. Rabat still leads though. He's yet to make a mistake. Fair play to Tito Rabat. He must have done some practice before this one, because in virtual races previous, he has made 1 or 2 too many mistakes.
Certainly, yeah, you've got to say, Jack, he's been a little bit too inconsistent to be competing at the front, but in this race, we're 6 laps in, he's not put a single foot wrong. If he keeps it going this way, there's every chance he could win this thing.
So there is Lorenzo, now within a second of Rabat. He's not been able to just dip it beneath the 1 second barrier. Well, he has now, it's down to 0.9 as we're about to go down the Wellington Straight. The Ducati power of Rabat will be hoping to get every single horse he's got beneath him. Absolutely galloping there to try and stay clear of Lorenzo.
He certainly is, but it does seem that he's maybe struggling to just pull it down to the apex and get the big Ducati stopped. We've seen him a couple of laps in a row now just go wide at Brooklands there as Lorenzo closes in a little further. Saying that though, the gap is still around 1 second. Also, just keep an eye. We did say about Taka Nakagami. He's been quick. I don't know what he's been doing in the last time that he's raced in these virtual races, but he's definitely found something in terms of setup. He's far quicker here than what he was in the races before.
Lap 7 we're on 2 now with Rabat leading from Lorenzo, from Nakagami. Michele Pirro's in 4th, Quartararo down to 5th after that crash. Again, mistake from Nakagami there, just took my attention away. Somehow he got it back into line to flick it back right again. He was all out of shape there was Nakagami, but it doesn't look to have lost too much time. Gone through the top 5 there, 6th place still Pecco Bagnaia, 7th Lorenzo Savadori, and Suzuki of Joan Mir there in 8th.
I don't know if you just heard Tito about saying to Jorge there, Jack, that he's being really annoying because the gap keeps hovering around 1.1, 1.0. Well, Tito, I've got news for you. It's less than that now. It's 0.6, 0.5. Maybe you should focus on the road in front of you rather than the gap behind.
Rabat continuing to chirp away at Lorenzo. What was he saying there? He kept saying, I keep talking because if I stop, then I'll go slower. Maybe this is what Tito Rabati's like in real life under his helmet. Who would have known what an insight that Tito Rabat, when at full concentration mode, just talks continuously under his helmet.
Well, as we do know, these riders aren't mic'd up, so it's very possible that he does say that in real life when he's going 200 miles an hour down the Hanger Straight.
Here we go then, down the Wellington Straight. With Rabat still leading, as you rightly said, Jack, it's under half a second now. Lorenzo is closing in bit by bit. The number 99 is hovering in the background.
Certainly is, the number 99 with little devil horns. He's coming for you, Tito. You've got to run away as fast as you can. Only 3 laps about to as they cross the line for this time to go. Fabio's just trying to sneak up the inside of Michele Pirro again. A few little nudges and bumps there. See if he can sweep round Woodcut and get the drive onto the front straight.
Very much like Marquez rings of last year there, with Pirro running slightly wide and Quartararo trying to get the undercut. But that looks like a scream of Fabio Quartararo. He's managed to stay on board. Meanwhile, we have a change of the lead. Lorenzo has recovered, and it's Jorge Lorenzo that leads this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix, the wild card. He's come back through after being cleaned out by Taka Nakagami on the first lap, and now he hits the front ahead of Tito Rabat.
He hits the front, and what a fairy tale it is as Tito smashes into the back of the Yamaha there at the end of the straight. Tito's trying everything he can. He doesn't want to lose this one. Why has Lorenzo come back today? He's shouting. Maybe he could have come back tomorrow.
Big shout from Tito and a big smile as well. He's enjoying this one. He's not going away. It's Tito Rabat. He's trying to stick with Jorge Lorenzo at the front of this one.
And you've got to say, what a fairy tale comeback this would be for Jorge Lorenzo if he can win on his return performance with Yamaha. After being away from them for 3 years, being away from the manufacturer he won 3 Grand Prix World titles with, if he could win here in Silverstone, it would be absolutely brilliant.
Their first win for Yamaha since Valencia 2016. How incredible would that be to see Jorge Lorenzo in the blue of Yamaha on the top step of the podium in virtual terms. I know we're getting a little bit carried away, but why not?
I mean, it's Lorenzo at Yamaha. It was an era of MotoGP. Let's get carried away with it.
Of course. Why? Who on earth would begrudge us to get carried away at seeing Jorge Lorenzo on a Yamaha winning at Silverstone? But of course, it would be fairly magical to see Tito Rabat pick up his debut MotoGP win as well. And he's not going away. Incidentally, he said, I think in 2014, his best ever race was here at Silverstone in the Moto2 class. He clearly loves the circuit. Could that best ever day be trumped here by this virtual victory?
Could well be, and of course while we're rattling on there, we did just see a brief glimpse of Taka Nakagami. Let's not forget how good a performance this is for him. With just 1.5 laps to go, he's looking to secure his first podium in these virtual races.
Rabat looks to get a super drive there through Maggots and Beckett's as they go down the Hanger Straight. He got a good little push out of Chapel Curve, but it looks as though Lorenzo's just going to hang on before they go hard on the brakes here into Stowe Corner. Vale's up next, another superb passing opportunity here at Silverstone, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. The gap is actually starting to stretch out now. It's clear that Lorenzo's gone for that hard Michelin rear compound, and it's coming into his own now. We saw Rabat. You'll be able to see him in the back of your picture here. That rear tyre is spitting it from side to side. It looks as though he's just starting to lose a little bit of grip, and Lorenzo's taking full advantage of that.
Certainly is, and as we just see Pecco Bagnaia go down again, I think it's the third crash for him in this race. I just want to point out a little fact here that means this race might not all be over here. Look at Tito Rabat's name there. You don't see any penalty marker next to it. If he can get close enough to Lorenzo, he doesn't even have to finish in front of him. If he's close enough and Lorenzo has a big enough penalty, he will win it on penalty time.
Well, what a twist that would be to the tail if Tito Rabat was to win it, having come across the line in second place. Let's not get carried away as there goes Pecco Bagnaia. I think that's crash number 4 of the day for Pecco. A day to forget, that is for certain for Bagnaia. Alex Marquez will for certain lead this Virtual World Championship at the end of this one. It was an opportunity for Bagnaia, a chance to take full advantage. of Malik
Jorge
Marquez
Dio.
not being here, but he's not been able to do it. 7th place he is now. That is not where you'd expect to see Bagnaia, the winner of a virtual race once in this series so far, all the way back at the Red Bull Ring after that last lap dash with Maverick Vinales. Goodness gracious me, that feels like ages ago.
It certainly does, but what a good last lap that was, Jack. Absolutely cracking action, that one.
Back at the front though, we're on the final lap. 1.2 seconds now is Jorge Lorenzo's advantage. Let's be fair to Tito Rabat. If he was to pick any man in the history of Grand Prix racing to not have in front of him with fresh air on the final lap, it's Jorge Lorenzo. You do not want that man to have clear space ahead of him on the final lap of a race. He's taking full advantage of it, is the number 99. Surely the victory is his now without a mistake.
Certainly, buttery smooth and metronomic is Lorenzo. That's what he's made a career on. And on this last lap, it's highly unlikely he's going to make a mistake. So let's see if he can bring it home for Yamaha, and not just Yamaha himself. In his first return ride back to MotoGP. It may be virtual, but what a story.
Half a lap to go for Jorge Lorenzo. He's over 1.5 seconds clear now of Tito Rabat. This is his Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix to lose. We're into the final part of the lap. They'll go right here, then hard on the brakes to go left. Meanwhile, before we get into the final sector, let's just check out this fight, the final podium place, because it looks as though, despite a whole host of crashes, Fabio Quartararo has managed to salvage something out of it. He's never finished on a virtual podium, despite his pace, so at least this is something to take away for Fabio Quartararo. 3rd place, stealing it away from Taka Nakagami. I do feel sorry for him, because what a performance he's put in. But today is all about this man, the wild card, retired at the end of 2019, but he's back in 2020, and he's a MotoGP race winner once again. Who would have thought it? Jorge Lorenzo takes the Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix, the first time he's won on a Yamaha since Valencia 2016. Tito Rabat, what a performance from the Reale Avintia man. A first ever MotoGP podium for him. Fabio Quartararo onto a virtual MotoGP podium for the first time. Commiserations to Taka Nakagami, Michele Pirro completing the top 5. What an excellent race that was. Let's just hear what the guys have got to say as they debrief it.
No, yo lo mejor de toda la partida ha sido cuando me has dado, que un poco más digo, ¿de dónde viene este? Y me dices, ¡Tito! Eso ha sido lo mejor, lo mejor.
Tito, pero tú no te has caído, ¿no?
No, no me he caído, pero porque, no sé por qué.
Pero normalmente cuando es así,
tendría que haber caído.
¿No te has caído, Tito?
No.
Buena carrera, ¿eh?
Just Johan Mir there saying what a good race from Tito Rabat, not crashing at all in the entire Grand Prix.
There was definite shock in his voice there.
Yeah,
Buena carrera, Tito. Meanwhile, Tito doing a good impression of Fabio Quartararo when he had his coming together on lap, I think 4 or 5 it was. Meanwhile, here are the final results then. Jorge Lorenzo is your race winner ahead of Tito Rabat and Fabio Quartararo. 4th place, Taka Nakagami with Michele Pirro in 5th. Lorenzo Savadori, Francesco Bagnaia and Joan Mir are your final finishers here in Silverstone. Let's jump back into our living room and hear what the guys have got to say after that one.
Bueno, podium, yeah.
Tito is absolutely delighted, and unsurprisingly as well, because there we go, that is the race of this virtual Michelin British Grand Prix, or certainly from a MotoGP perspective, for the coming weeks or days, done and dusted. And what a surprise result it was as well, with the returning wildcard Jorge Lorenzo taking victory. We'll speak to Jorge very shortly. Before that though, we'll start with the unfortunate man that misses out on a podium finish, Taka Nakagami. Taka, you were leading the race on the opening lap. I think after possibly a few collisions with a few riders, I don't think Jorge and Fabio were best pleased with your moves again, but what was it like to be leading the race?
Yeah, I didn't expect leading the race, but I think lap 6 or lap 7 had a small mistake. I think turn 13 or 14, slow one. So yeah, I missed the opportunity for the yeah, I think from the last race I'm improving a lot, so I enjoy a lot, and a shame that the last lap I lose the podium position with the Fabio, but he was too So I was no chance.
Well, the podium, as you say, going the way of Fabio Quartararo in the end. I think this is his first podium finish. Am I right, Fabio? First time in virtual races you've got onto the podium.
Yeah, first time, but that one was so strange. I crashed 5 or 6 times and lose a lot of time. But actually, I make more than 5-10 faster than my qualifying lap. So was good fight with Tack on the last lap. But yeah, it's a shame that I crashed with Tito in the third lap or fourth. But anyway,
You crashed yourself.
It was a good rivalry between you and Tito. I think even Tito said, and a couple of the times you going, Tito! It was
yeah, was my fault. Was my fault, but
okay.
Actually in real life, if I touch him from the inside, he crash and I don't crash.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I don't know. He keep going, so it was quite strange.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Tito doesn't mind too much, and it's finally all come together for you, Tito. 0 crashes, and you're on the podium. It's just a shame you couldn't do this in any of the virtual races.
Yes, I'm super happy because I practice a lot these days, and now good result. Jorge can come back maybe another day, but he have to come back this day. Then second, it's super good, and nothing. We see if we make more races or not, but at the end we make a super good time and enjoy a lot.
Well, as we say, we don't know if it's the last one, but if there is another one, Tito, we look forward to seeing you at the front again, because that was a brilliant ride, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and if it is the final race as well, what a way to go out. Jorge Lorenzo, meanwhile, took the victory, a wild card coming in and winning the race. Congratulations, Jorge. What's it feel like to be a MotoGP winner in 2020? I'm sure you didn't expect to be hearing that.
Well, like some Roman emperor said, Veni Vidi Vinci. So I arrive and I take the pole position, I win. But I have to say, today Fabio was clearly faster than me. But you know, to win the race, you have to finish. And we did it, even if I crashed in the second corner. Anyway, I was consistent. I was quite fast. I overheat a little bit the rear tire, so it was not easy to catch Tito. But finally, I overtook him and I win this race. It was funny. And you know, I am happy.
It looks like you went with the right Michelin rear tyre in the end, though, because as you say, with that crash on the first lap, you had to come through the field again, and even though there was a little bit of overheating, you still had the pace to come through. What option did you go for in the end? Was it the right one?
Yeah, you know, during these 3 days, I try sometimes the tires options, and I try also the hard rear. I was clear about the front. The front didn't overheat the soft front. But the rear, the medium was a little bit at the limit. So I needed to manage, and even that was moving a lot. So I think the hard option for the last was better. But anyway, it was enough to win. And I was lucky that Fabio crashed many times, because if not, would be very, very difficult to beat him.
Well, congratulations, Jorge. Of course, you do have yourselves a British Grand Prix MotoGP Race Winners Trophy, so you can go and grab that over the next couple of hours and celebrate. You've got yourselves a British GP Winners Trophy anyway, so we don't need to send one in the post. It's all good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Congratulations to Jorge, and thank you to all of the MotoGP riders for joining us there. And of course, thank you to Michelin, who is able to put this together and make sure that all these guys have got the right rear tyres on there, helping Jorge come through the field, despite the medium just starting to overheat at the end. It's going to be interesting to see what the options are going forward for the Moto2 and Moto3 guys. In the Dunlops. But don't go anywhere, because after the highlights of this MotoGP race, about 30 seconds or so, just to refresh your memory of exactly what went down. We've got Moto2 coming up next, and then Moto3. But thank you for the meantime to the MotoGP guys for joining us. We'll see you later, guys.
Ciao.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao a tutti.
Here we go then, time for the Moto2 race. Here's how they're going to line up. On the outside of the front row of the grid will be Mark VDS's Augusto Fernandez. He's one of 8 brand new faces in this Moto2 field, but it's all about the returnees. Clearly, experience is absolutely key in these virtual races, because it's Marcel Schrotter that will start from the middle of the second row of the grid. He could well have been 5th on the grid if it wasn't for this final flying lap that elevated him up to second place. Pole position though went the way of Bo Benschneider. Dutchman was dominant here at Silverstone, over half a second clear of anybody else. He picked up a podium in our first ever Moto2 virtual race at Jerez a month ago, and now he's the clear favourite to take victory in our second Moto2 virtual race here at Silverstone. Fronting row number 2 of the grid will be Xavi Vierge, joined there by Kazma Daniel and Hector Garzo. 7th, Nicolo Buliga, Marco Bezzecchi in 8th, and then Stefano Manzi in 9th, with Tetsuta Nagashima rounding us out in 10th. There we go then, that's exactly how these Moto2 riders are going to line up for this virtual Michelin British Grand Prix, and it's a welcome to all 10 of them. We've got 8 brand new faces with us and a couple of returnees as well in the form of Marcel Schrotter and Bo Benschneider, so welcome back to those guys, and welcome along to 8 of the debutants as well to this virtual MotoGP series. And it's looking like experience is going to be key, because one of the 2 men that's already taken part in our Spanish virtual GP about a month ago, Bo Benschneider, has taken pole position. Congratulations, Bo. Start from pole, and you've got 0.6 of a second over everybody else as well. It looks like you're the real favourite going into the race.
Yeah, it was hard qualifying to make a perfect lap, but finally I make the perfect lap and the pole position, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, the man starting from pole is going to be a tough man to beat.
He certainly is. And as you say, Jack, the other person that has been with us before is lining up in second place on the grid. Marcel, it looks like you made a big step up from last time. Have you been practicing away, getting a few hours in?
I think I've been more lucky. It's really difficult to make a lap without mistake. I didn't practice too much. I was not expecting to play again. I thought my teammate maybe will. But anyway, happy to be second, but let's see what we can do in the race.
Well, it seems like even though he hasn't been practicing too much, he's going to be pretty strong in the race. We'll have to watch out.
Joining them two on the outside of the front row is Augusto Fernandez. Welcome to this virtual Moto2 race, Augusto. Have you been putting any practice in? How good are you on the MotoGP 20 game?
Well, I think I didn't make a perfect lap. I think I have a better pace, so I have to do it on the race.
Sounds pretty confident, yeah? And then 4th place on the grid, lining up on the front of the second row, it is Xavi Vierge. Hey, Xavi, have you watched your Petronas SRT teammates in the races before, particularly Jake in the previous virtual Grand Prix?
Yes, I speak with them. He says to me some advices, because at the beginning when I tried, I'm horrible. So I'm happy with this 4th position. Second row of the grid was not so bad. We will see what's happened now on the race, because on the last one I see, and it's quite aggressive, everything.
Yeah, certainly. It's a little bit chaotic in these races.
Joining Xavi on the second row will be Kazma Daniel, who's joining us all the way from Malaysia. Thank you very much, Kazma, for joining us in this virtual Moto2 race. Are you one of the favourites coming into it? I've heard you've put quite a bit of practice in. Starting from the second row means you might be quite a strong rider as well.
What? Sorry. It's lagging.
It's lagging a little bit. I do apologise. Yeah. Internet issues, it can always happen. Always. You're saying you've put some practice in over the past week. Are you confident going into the race?
Yes. After I make practice too much, and I feel really confident to go to the race. And I have a little bit good result, but I try to make more. Thank you.
Top man. Let's hope that internet holds up for him.
Hopefully so, right? And just behind him is Hector Garzo. Hector, you're just on the back of the second row of the grid. It's not too bad for you, but many of the guys have been saying that they've probably got better race pace than what they showed in qualifying. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, for sure. I tried my best line on the qualifying,
But well, the team and I, we know that we don't have the best pace, but we're gonna try to manage the race a little bit good at the beginning, and let's see what happens.
It could be another fast one. Plenty of contenders for this podium, I think, Jack.
Yeah, certainly looks like it's going to be quite a tight pack in this one. Another man hoping to join them at the front in row number 3 of the grid. In all Italian row 3 of the grid is Nicolo Buliga. Nicolo, welcome along to this virtual Grand Prix. Confident that you can go with the front runners?
Yes, I didn't train a lot, but I need to improve a little bit my front feelings because in the first corners I have some chattering. But we will see. We have to work hard with the team and try to make a good race.
Well, he's not got long to make any setup changes to hopefully sort out that front end feel problem.
No, he certainly hasn't. And another man that will be looking to maybe find a little bit more pace in the race is Marco Bezzecchi. Marco, you're the only rider that we have in this for the Sky Racing team. Do you reckon that possibly you can get more up to the front and contend for the podium, perhaps?
Yeah, for sure will be a difficult race because my experience with this game is not much, so I'm not really good. But every lap I improve, and when I see the other riders, I try to copy as much as I can. But it's difficult because my hands sweat a lot, so for me it's very hard. But it's funny, so it's okay.
A few nerves and sweaty palms setting in already, I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case for a lot of them. Joining both Marco and Nicolo on row 3, making it an all-Italian row 3, if we said, is Stefano Manzi. Stefano, in nearly all of the virtual races we've had, there's always one man to get the elbows and the knees out and cause some chaos at the opening corner. Do you think that could be you?
I don't know what to say because everybody say they didn't train a lot, but for me, for sure, I put the game in 2 days ago, and today was completely disaster for me when I start because everybody was very fast, and so I see everybody fast and me crash a lot and didn't do very clear lap, and I don't know what I have to expect.
I think Stefano may well be one of the late breakers going into turn number 1.
Certainly, he's almost going to hold it flat, I think. Tetsuta, unfortunately, you are last on the grid. As the championship leader in real life, it's not really where you want to be, is it? So hopefully there's a few more better fortunes on the horizon for you in the race.
Yeah, for the race, sure, it's so difficult because I'm like a manager, you know. I didn't play so much because I got this game maybe 2-3 days ago. So then yesterday I tried to practice this game, but can you imagine? I had 3 kids. Then when I play, the kids are coming. I cannot play. Yeah,
not the ideal conditions for practice. Really.
yeah. I want to ride a real bike. Anyway.
I think of all the excuses, trying to look after 3 kids is probably the best one we've had so far.
It's definitely one that we can't refute, really.
We'll let Tetsuta off. It's a fairly decent excuse, having to be a dad at the same time. But let's see how he gets on. The championship leader does start from the back of the grid, but I'm sure if he can show anywhere near the same sort of pace that we've seen in Qatar, then he'll be right up at the front. 6 laps ahead of these 10 Moto2 riders. Then it's Bo Benschneider on pole position. Can the Dutchman hang on to make it a first ever Moto2 win? So myself and Jack are back into my bedroom here in Barcelona. We've got the fan on because it's quite the warm day.
Certainly is, yeah. It's a little bit warm in this commentary box, but we'll battle on through with the aid of some good Moto2 racing, I think.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, we don't want it to cool down, we want it to heat us up, so we could well be struggling by the end of it. Let's hope they put on a show then. Benschneider, Schrotter and Fernandez is your front row of the grid. We're going to be starting with the poleman Benschneider. Wait for the lights to go out. We're underway here in the Moto2 British Grand Prix, and it's a super start from Ben Schneider, wheeling his way down to turn number 1. Fernandez tries to squeeze up the inside. There goes, who's that? I think that's Pons trying to get through up the inside of Schrotter that's gone backwards off the line. Meanwhile, a good start from Kazma Daniel as well, the Malaysian up to 3rd, but it's all about Ben Schneider at the front. From pole position, he got the perfect start, and he's trying to get away with it. He's going to be certainly helped by the fact that Kazma Daniel is getting his elbows out up against Augusto Fernandez.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a pretty good start from most of the grid, actually pretty clean, but we can't overlook the fact that Tetsuya Nagashima had a nightmare. Larry looped out on the start line, flipped all the way over the back. Was that Augusto Fernandez in the middle of the circuit there? I think it was. I don't know how everyone missed him there. So we see Marcel Schrotter go completely sideways. Well, I did say it wasn't chaos, but now it is chaos as Fernandez has gone down again.
What on earth happened there? Down the hanger straight. It looks like Fernandez had a coming together down the middle of it and crashed out. So the man that was started from the outside of the front row is down to 7th. Meanwhile, with all the chaos going on behind it, Ben Schneider's away with this one. 1.5 seconds clear, and we're only halfway around the opening lap.
Yeah, and as you say, we are only halfway around the opening lap, and look at the amount of penalties we've already got. Everyone but 2 riders, both Ben Schneider and Marco Bezzecchi, have already been penalised. I presume that's for some pretty aggressive fairing, bashing, and a few corner cuts.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Here we are, the fight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th then. Kazma Daniel leads it with Hector Garzo up to 3rd now. Schrotter in 4th. Looks like Xavi Vierge's there in 5th as well. It's quite the tight little battle we've got going on here for 2nd and 3rd. But at the front, it's all about Ben Schneider. The NTS rider is away with it. Here is Kazma Daniel though, the Malaysian, a debutant in the Moto2 class for 2020. And it looks as though he's settling in quite nicely.
Yeah, certainly. Looks nice and composed. He's coming round now to complete lap 1. He's going to come through on the first lap in Moto2 Life in 2nd place, so it can't really get too much better for him. Let's hope he can stay there throughout the rest of the race, because as we've seen, he has been quite quick.
Yeah, he has been. He's got the pace over 1 lap. That's what we saw in qualifying in the free practices that took place earlier on today. Here's Marcel Schrotter, of course, one of the 2 returnees. The other one, Ben Schneider's away with it at the front. So Schrotter, a little bit of pressure on him, having already experienced what a virtual Grand Prix is all about. He'll definitely be hoping for a podium at the bare minimum.
He certainly will be, and he's not too far away, Jack. He's just 1.5 seconds behind Hector Garzo in 3rd place, so let's hope he can put a few good laps in. We'll see a nice little spicy battle for 3rd place.
Meanwhile, after, what did you refer to it as? A Larry loop out on the...
Larry loop out, yes. Classic motocross term, that one, Jack.
Oh, I do apologise. Tetsuya Nagashima is just starting to battle his way back through the field. 8th place at the moment for the Moto2 World Championship leader. The only men behind him are Stefano Manzi and Nicolo Buliga. Meanwhile, back at the front, there's Xavi Vierge, tucks the front, coming together with Marco Bezzecchi, and down goes Vierge. That was the fight for 5th place, but Vierge got it all wrong there. He's been taking some tips off Jake Dixon, but Dixon was able to stay on 2 wheels when he went absolutely sideways into Lorenzo Baldassarri. That's not what you're supposed to do.
No, certainly not. Jake, as we do know, if you remember from the virtual race before in Jerez, he completely barged Lorenzo Baldassarri out of the way, not once, but twice.
I've already had a Larry loop out. What did he refer to himself as?
Oh, I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I don't know whether it was Terry the Turbo. No, Terry the Turbo.
It might have been that Turbo Takeout, maybe. I'm not too
Terry
sure.
Terry Turbo. I don't know. I'm sure Jake will.
Whatever it was pretty entertaining at the time, anyway.
He will. He'll send us a tweet and let us know whatever it was. But we've had Larry and Terry in this race. But let's focus on Bo, Daniel, and Hector. Whoa! What on earth happened there? What on earth happened there? It looked like Kazma Daniel just came to an absolute standstill in the middle of the track.
Yeah, and someone went straight into the back of him. I didn't even see who that was in all the chaos. That one caught us completely by surprise. I presume that was down to a little bit of lag. We do know that Kazma was struggling with a little bit of lag earlier on the video call, so I presume it must be the same.
It has to be internet issues, but poor old Hector Garzo, he was the man that got caught up in it.
Ah, it was Hector. Okay, I wasn't too sure who it was.
Yeah, we should probably stick up for Kazma Daniel as well, because he definitely didn't mean to do that, purely down to a little bit of internet lag. Meanwhile, here is Garzo and Bezzecchi. Oh, we're down to 9 riders here. Oh, what's going on here? We were just talking about internet issues. Who's that we've lost? It looks like it is.
It was Xavi Vierge.
It is. Xavi Vierge's out of it. Well, it's not as dramatic as what we saw in the Moto3 race at Jerez, where Dennis Foggia, guys, I have no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and then proceeded to fly about all over the Jerez circuit, yes.
But yeah, we've lost Vierge. Poor old Xavi Vierge, who was having a good ride as well, up to 5th place, I think it was. He was certainly in contention, having a little crash earlier on, coming together with Marco Bezzecchi, but well, that's it. Xavi Vierge out of this Moto2 race. Technical problems. There we go. Here is official confirmation. Xavi Vierge of the Petronas Sprinter Racing Squad out of the race after losing internet connection. Well, how harsh that is.
Certainly is. I guess that's what you would call a virtual breakdown, really, wouldn't you?
It is a DNF. We've not seen many of them in the virtual races. The only other man, as we just mentioned, Dennis Foggia, but this time it's Xavi Vierge. Poor old Xavi, lost internet, he's out of this one. We're only going to have 9 finishes. Meanwhile, back at the front, here is Kazma Daniel. 2.5 seconds clear now of Marcel Schrotter, the German in 3rd place at the moment. A fairly comfortable 3rd as well, because he's got 5 seconds over Hector Garzo. Meanwhile, back at the front there is Bo Benschneider. He himself nearly 3 seconds clear of Kazma Daniel. So it's just starting to space itself out here at Silverstone. I'll keep a close eye on the gaps on the left-hand side of your screen there next to the riders to see if anybody's closing in at all. It looks as though the real battle is for 5th place, with Marco Bezzecchi and Augusto Fernandez swapping places on a fairly regular basis. But we'll stick with our race leader, Bo Benschneider, just to check that he can make his way through this classic Silverstone section. When you think of the Silverstone circuit, this is, of course, the section that you think about straight away, being Maggots, Beckett, and then through Chapel and onto the Hangar Straight.
It certainly is. It's an absolutely iconic section, not of just Silverstone, but of all Grand Prix racing. Fast, flowing, tricky to get right, but when you do get it right, it's one of the most rewarding things you can do on a motorcycle.
And this is a super overtaking spot as well. Hard.
It certainly is.
On the brakes into Stowe Corner, the only unfortunate thing for Hector Garza at the moment, it may well be an overtaking hotspot, but it isn't an overtaking hotspot when you've not got anybody in front of you to overtake.
Certainly not. When you've got a 5-second buffer in front of you and a 10-second one behind you, it can feel quite lonely. But anyway, let's see if Hector Garza can maybe close in on Marcel Schrotter. We do just turn to him in 3rd place. As we did say, Marcel, it's his 2nd race for in the Moto2 virtual races we've had. I think he's just actually closing in a little bit on Kazma Daniel, possibly. The gap is now down to 1.4, 1.5 seconds, just fluctuating around there. So Kazma can't afford to make any mistakes. If he does, we do know how costly that is, and Marcel will be through into 2nd.
Bo Benschneider, number 64 then, the Dutchman, on course for a first ever Moto2 race win. He jumped onto the podium, if memory serves me right, in 3rd place at Jerez in our first ever virtual Grand Prix. He's now looking to go 2 better, pick up a race win for the first time in the Moto2 class. A long way to go though. Meanwhile, there's Xavi Vierge on your left of the screen. Unsurprisingly, looks a little bit bored now.
Yeah, a little bit bored, a little bit glum. I'm sure he's not too pleased about watching this race unfold without him, but anyway, it is what it is at the moment.
It's pretty cruel. We don't normally see this, where a rider has a technical problem in a race and they have to sit there watching the rest of it, watching it unfold. He looks like he's picked up his phone now. I think he'll probably fill the next lap and a half by just scrolling through Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, certainly. Maybe he'll send a text to Jake Dixon and ask him for a few tips on internet setup as well.
Hector Garzo's lapping away there. I just missed what Hector Garzo was saying. I think he's having a little conversation with the man behind him, which is Augusto Fernandez. 8 seconds separate them at the moment, so it's quite the distance there. But it's nice to see that they're still able to have a laugh and a joke. Bo Benschneider still leads this one though. 4 seconds is advantage now. A comfortable performance from the Dutchman. He looked good in Jerez. Now with a new set of riders, the equation slightly different, and he has been a class above in this one. He's going to walk away with the perfect 3, pole position, fastest lap, and the race win as well. That is, of course, if he can just about manage these next 1.5 laps of Silverstone.
Certainly is, but so far, Jack, as you say, he has been absolutely inch perfect. We haven't seen him make a single mistake or put a foot wrong yet, so very high likelihood that he is going to go on and take this win, since he's now 4.2 seconds ahead of Kazma in 2nd place. And as we're speaking of that 2nd place, Marcel Schrotter is still pushing on, still trying to close him down for that 2nd place on the podium, but it looks as though at the minute they're just on a little bit of a stalemate. You see Marcel just, he just high-sided himself going onto the Wellington Straight. Just running a little bit wide there. That is going to, of course, hand 3rd position to Hector Garza, I do believe. Yes, it does. And now Marcel's down to 4th, although he's not going to drop any further because he's got about 3 or 4 seconds over Augusto Fernandez in 5th.
Well, mistakes are so costly in these virtual series. He just touched the grass, down he went, and suddenly he went from a comfortable 3rd position, closing in on 2nd, to now being in no man's land in 4th place. Marcel Schrotter throwing away what was going to be a guaranteed top 3 finish. Hector Garzo must think that it's Christmas coming through to take 3rd place. So that looks like our top 3 is pretty much set on this final lap then. Ben Schneider, obviously mistakes aside on this final lap, is away with it at the front, nearly 5 seconds clear now. Casper Daniel's got 8 seconds over Hector Garzo. And Garzo himself has got 5 over Schrotter, so it's really starting to spread out this Moto2 race. We'll stick with Casper Daniel though. Down the back straight here. Hanger straight here at Silverstone. Hard on the brakes into Stowe. He's missed the apex.
Just a little bit. Amber wide down coming in for Intervale.
Slightly different line, but it's working for him. He's in 2nd place.
It's now working as we see Tetsuta Nagashima have another little crash. He's just even taken his headset off there to have a little rest.
Frustration for Nagashima, the World Championship leader. It's not gone to plan for the KTM man. Well, KTM/Suter man in this Moto2 virtual Grand Prix, but I'm sure he'll take great pride out of the fact that although he may not be the virtual world champion, he's got an absolutely superb chance of becoming the actual Moto2 world champion if he can continue the performances that he put in Qatar. Hopefully it won't be too long before we can see him back out on track. Of course, as we said at the top of the show, June tomorrow means that hopefully MotoGP racing is just a month away at the back end of July in Jerez.
We certainly do hope so, Jack, as we just see the final few corners coming into the last sector. The battle for 4th is coming through as they're coming down onto the back straight. Oh, Fernandez just a little bit wide, touches the grass, but it is going to be this man who's going to take victory.
Bo Ben Schneider's going to win the Michelin Virtual Moto2 British Grand Prix. A comfortable win in the end for the Dutchman. Over 6 seconds, nearly 7 seconds clear of Casper Daniel, who's stopping it over the line. A little bit of showmanship from the Malaysian to take 2nd place. And it's going to be 3rd to Hector Garzo. Capitalises on a mistake from Marcel Schrotter in the closing stages, who's just made another one as well. He's thrown 4th place away now into the hands of Augusto Fernandez. So the Mark VDS man will take 4th ahead of Marcel Schrotter, with the pair of them having a laugh about it as they come across the line together. 6th place, who did that go to? Marco Bezzecchi, stealing 6th. Ahead of Nicolo Buliga. Tetsuta Nagashima was 8th, I believe, with Stefano Manzi 9th. We'll get a final confirmation of that. Let's just have a listening to hear what the guys have to say.
Screen you crash and it crash with you, but
more lag.
I tried to put some pressure.
Pressure, yes. Too much.
Yeah.
I think that was just Hector Garzo explaining what happened with the crash where Casper Daniel, it seemed that he's had a few lag issues and he just stopped dead on the circuit.
Bo ha vinto.
Another race or no?
It's good like this.
Yes, another.
Another race.
It's perfect.
Marcel Schotter's asking for another race, and Bo, well, quite simply said, "No, mate, I'm all right.
Yeah.
That one will do for me."
I got the win, you haven't.
Quite rightly as well. Why nobody want another race when you're 8.3 seconds clear of 2nd place? Never mind 3rd, 4th or 5th. So final results then. Bo Ben Schneider takes the win ahead of Casper Daniel and Hector Garzo. Augusto Fernandez, Marcel Schrotter and Marco Bezzecchi were 4th, 5th and 6th. 7th place going away of Nicolo Buliga, with our final 2 finishers Tetsuta Nagashima and Stefano Manzi. Right, let's go and see what they've got to say. There we go then, that's the 2nd race of this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix done and dusted, with a fairly comfortable win in the end going the way of Bo Ben Schneider. 3rd place in his debut at Jerez, and now made it into a debut win here as well. We'll catch up with the men. They finished on the podium very shortly, but before we do, we only had 9 finishers because Xavi, happened? Was there some internet problems? Just explain to us why you didn't finish the race.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm playing and immediately I'm out.
Really? Oh, so just completely cut out. You can see the Wi-Fi still there because we can still see you. So
yeah, everything is working, but the moment it's out and I cannot replace.
Disaster, absolute disaster. Technical problems. Oh well.
Yeah.
It happens.
Races are like this.
It is. It happens, mate. It happens. Oh well. We'll move on to the next one. Third place then in the end, going the way of Hector Garzo. Hector, a debut World Championship podium for you, but it wasn't without some drama. Just explain to us the crash that you had with Kazma. It looked like you just ran into him in the middle of a corner. How did that happen?
Yeah, I didn't know, but was something so strange. But this is racing also, internet, the video games. But it's cool. I didn't expect this result, and for sure I'm happy. I also foresee all my mates, and for making this podium for my first virtual race is great. No, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, he certainly benefited from a late crash from Marcel Schrotto. We won't get a chance to speak with you, Marcel, because you don't look best pleased about that crash late on.
No, of course. If you try to chase a podium, you go to finish on the podium and then you crash. It's a shame, but in the end I crashed again with Augusto. I had to protect a little bit because I know he's very, very fast. I see the lap times, so I had to try everything I can, but another crash, yeah. But it's fun. Great to be part of this race.
Well, there we go. At least he's put a smile on his face. He can look at the positives, which is a good thing.
It's not too bad of a result. Better than last time, anyway. But second on the podium is Kazma. As we said, you had that little coming together with Hector there in the middle of the corner. Maybe a little bit of lag issues just helping you out. But I'm sure in your first virtual race, you're pretty happy with second place.
Yeah, first of all, I was like, thank you to MotoGP because they invite me, and to the guys because well played, very clean, and honestly, yes, I training a lot with that.
Plenty of practice laps, huh? Well, it was certainly good fun to watch you, Kazma. Congratulations on the second place.
Yeah, great work for him all the way from Malaysia, getting onto the podium. Great news for all of our Malaysian fans tuning in, but also great news for our Dutch fans as well, because it's Bo Benschneider that's won the race, a debut win in the World Championship. Congratulations, Bo. How does it feel to be a Moto2 race winner?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I work hard for it. I train a lot, and finally the results come, so I'm happy.
It was a comfortable win for you. How many seconds did you win by in the end? It was a fair
finally
few.
8 seconds.
How many? 8 seconds. Goodness gracious me. It was easy for you then.
Yeah, not easy because my hands are a little bit wet, now, but I finished the race.
A few sweaty palms, but I'm sure he'll take that
as
cost of victory. Congratulations, Bo, and thank you very much to all 10 of our Moto2 riders that have joined us for this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix. Let's show you some of the highlights from that race, but don't go anywhere because we've got our final race of the day coming up in a few moments' time. It's the Moto3 guys that are up next. So here's how they're going to line up for our final race of the day in the Moto3 class. And on the outside of the front row is going to be a man that's never even raced a Grand Prix before. He was too young to start the season in Qatar. Barry Baltus starts life in the Moto3 World Championship on the outside of the front row. He'll be joined there in second place by Jeremy Alcoba. Teammate Gabriel Rodrigo won our first ever Moto3 virtual race in Jerez, so no pressure on Alcoba. And on pole position will be this man, Aspar's Stefano Nepa, the dominant force in qualifying, over half a second clear of everybody else. The Italian will be by far and away the favourite going into this Michelin Virtual British Moto3 Grand Prix. John McPhee will front row number 2, joined there by Kaito Toba and Yuki Kuni. Row 3, Ayuma Sasaki, Max Koppler and Carlos Tatai, with Leopard Racing Jaume Masia 10th on the grid. There we go then, that's exactly how this final race of the 3 this afternoon at this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix is going to line up. It's a warm welcome to all 10 of our Moto3 riders here, 10 brand new competitors as well. We had 10 for the first Grand Prix in Jerez, and we've got 10 new guys on board here from all around the world. We're of course going to start with our pole position man, Stefano Nepa. Stefano, a good lap there, a 2:10.6. Half a second quicker than anybody else. It looks like you're the real favourite going into this one.
Hi guys, well, the qualifying was very good, and now let's see what happened in the race. I think the pace is quite good, so let's see.
Best of luck, Stefano. Half a second quicker than anyone else, Jack. I think you might be a tough man to beat.
He's certainly got some pace, but one man that we're trying to beat him is second on the grid, who is, of course, the 2019 CEV Moto3 champion, Jeremy Alcoba. Jeremy, have you been able to practice, get any practice laps in at Silverstone before this race?
Yes, I practiced a little bit. I don't know what happened in the qualifying because I can't do my best and the lap don't go up. But we will see what happened in the race. I think we have a good pace, but let's see what happened in the start. That is really important.
Certainly. Well, it seems that Jeremy Alcoba's got a little bit of pace up his sleeve, so we'll see how he does.
Quite possibly. We've already said a warm welcome to all 10 of the riders, but in particular, it's a warm welcome to the man on the outside of row number 1, Barry Baltus, because this is his debut World Championship race. He wasn't old enough to race in Qatar. He should have made his Grand Prix debut in Le Mans a fortnight ago in a different universe somewhere.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is his debut World Championship race. So welcome, Barry. What's it like to be finally taking part in your first Grand Prix of sorts?
Yeah, it's good to be part of this, but it's better on the reality. But I am happy to be on the first row. Now we will see on the race. I think it's important to don't crash, but we will see in the first corner.
Best of luck, Barry.
And heading up the second row of the grid is the only Briton in the whole of this British Virtual Grand Prix that we do have, John McPhee. Are you reckoning maybe you can put on a show for the home fans and bring home a podium or a victory?
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure, it's definitely nice to be here in a starting grid again. Even though it's not quite the real thing, it's good to be back racing. And yeah, let's see. I've got Kamikaze Sasaki lining up behind me on the grid, so the first corner is going to be important. But if we can stay out of trouble, we've hopefully got a top 3, top 4 result in us.
Oh, he sounds pretty confident. Well, maybe the Brits have got something to cheer about today.
Yeah, fingers crossed, as you rightly say, Jack. No pressure on John, but he's the only man waving the Union Jack here today at Silverstone. And as he's already mentioned, he's going to have to keep his eye on his former teammate behind him, Ayuma Sasaki. Welcome along, live from Japan, of course. Good evening over there. Is John right? Are you going to be the dangerous one in this race?
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at the right. I'm like when I'm starting. In the same time, I would look at John's Petronas logo on the back, just to be sure in the first corner. I don't really have the plan for the race. Just try to be inside of John in the first corner. That's my goal.
It sounds like as long as you beat John, you're going to be happy, Ayumi.
And lining up, apologies, for cutting you off. And lining up on the outside of the second row of the grid is Yuki Cooney. Yuki, is Silverstone a track that you like? Have you had much practice around here?
Well, it's I don't know the circuit, but I tried to many practice. Anyway, Nepa is so very fast, so I cannot follow. But I did enjoy a lot. So thank you.
Good luck to you, Yuki.
And jumping into the middle of the second row, we've got a little bit here, there, and everywhere there. But just to clarify, of course, it's John McPhee, Kaito Toba, and then Yuki Cooney on row number 2, whereas Ayumi Sasaki will be starting from the head of row number 3. So let's speak to Kaito. Kaito, welcome along. Middle of the second row. What are your chances of competing for a podium or a race win here?
Well, it was. I'm not happy about this qualifying. I crashed a little. But let's see. In first lap, I tried to little bit aggressive style, and let's see.
I don't think John's liking these answers because so far he's got Sasaki behind him and Toba to the right of him, both of which are saying they're going to be as aggressive as possible. Yeah. So good luck, John.
It could be a nervous few corners for John, I'd say. And Maximilian Koffler, you are in 8th place on the grid, just over 4 seconds off the pace. Is it maybe just a few setup tweaks needed for the race to find some extra speed?
I don't know. I hope to have a good pace for the race. I try not to crash. Maybe I can catch 1 or 2 riders in front of me, but I don't think the podium is possible today, but I try to do my best and enjoy the race a lot.
Well, hopefully if you stay out the Turn 1 carnage, you might pick up a few spots.
9th on the grid is Carlos Tatai. Carlos, welcome along. It looks as though pace-wise, you're quite a little bit off the front guys, nearly 4 seconds adrift, given it's not as bad as the man we'll speak to in a minute, Jaume Masia, who's 24 seconds off pole position. But still, it looks though you might struggle to stay with the race leaders here.
Yeah, of course. Playing the PlayStation is not one of my best abilities, but well, it's just about having some fun and enjoy the race, and we'll try to do. I will try to do my best, but it will be really difficult.
Yeah, I think it is going to be. If it's going to be difficult for him, Jack, then let's find out how challenging it's going to be for Jaume Masia.
Yeah, not the best, Jaume. 24 seconds off pole position, as we just said. I presume there was a few crashes in there. At least I really hope there was, because 24 seconds is quite a lot of time.
I had 2 crashes, but anyway, the feeling was not the best, and I will be the safety car taking care of all the riders that crash, so no problem.
Well, comparing yourself to the safety car, hopefully it gets a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah, fingers crossed that Jaume Masia can find a little bit more pace and try and compete in this one. One thing that we know for certain, though, is that Stefano Nepa is definitely going to be the pre-race favourite here. Half a second quicker than anybody else in qualifying. Can anybody get in front of the Italian and stop him breaking away? 6 laps ahead of the Moto3 guys. This is the final race of the virtual Michelin British Grand Prix. Get yourself strapped in for our finale. So here we go then, the final race of this Michelin virtual British Grand Prix. Time for the Moto3 guys to take centre stage, and we've got a fairly decent looking front row, Jack, to kick us off in this final race. With it, a man on the outside taking part in his first ever Grand Prix. What are the nerves going to be like for old Barry Baltus?
Certainly is. It's a pretty important one for him. And another pretty important one is Jaume Masia on the back row of the grid. He was 24 seconds off in qualifying. Let's see where he can get up to as we're about to go.
There's Stefano Nepa, the number 82 on board the Aspar machine. Teammate Alberto Arenas had a pretty good go at it in the Spanish Grand Prix. Can he go one better and win the race? Meanwhile, we're underway then, and Nepa gets an absolute stormer from pole position. Meanwhile, Barry Baltus is just settling into second, but just as we feared, Stefano Nepa half a second quicker than anybody else in qualifying. He's got a super start, and I don't think he's going to look back from here now, Jack.
Certainly has, and just as we're hopping on board with him, it wasn't the best start for Jeremy Alcoba. He was second on the grid, so we're just seeing, I think that's Ayumu just almost trying to wipe out Barry Baltus.
Oh, there's all three of them coming together there, front wheel to back wheel. There's Alcoba, Ayumu Sasaki and Barry Baltus clipping and clanging and coming together in every possible manner, and it looks as though it's Barry Baltus that's managed to get away with it. Meanwhile, Carlos Tatai has crashed out and has gone straight to the back of the field. Here's the battle for second place. Two rookies, Alcoba looking up the inside, but no way through. He eventually nudges him out the way, and down goes Matt Koppel after contact with John McPhee. There's Kaito Toba getting involved as well. Well, this is the carnage that we expected in the Moto3 class.
It certainly is, and it's not. Oh, we just see John McPhee going down as well. Not really helping with a few little lag issues I think we're seeing there. Some people hopping and skipping about the place, but it's all adding to the chaos anyway, and all the action. Anyway, back to the front. Stefano Nepa, he's already cleared off. Look at that. He's got about half the straight there.
Yeah, 1.8 seconds is advantage Stefano Nepa. He's away with it at the front, is the Italian. Looked pretty good in qualifying. Just trying to see whereabouts is he around the screen. There he is on the right hand side of your picture at the moment at number 82. Full focus, head going from left to right as we normally like to see. Here's this battle for second place then. Barry Baltus looking to squeeze up the inside, no way through there. It's Alcoba that still holds it at the moment. Of course, remember, Jeremy Alcoba made his World Championship debut, if memory serves me right, here at Silverstone in 2019, whilst replacing the injured Gabriel Rodrigo, who of course won our last Moto3 race last time out, so there's form for the Grassini riders in this one. Here's an old Japanese battle for 5th place with Yuki Kuni trying to get around the outside of Ayumu Sasaki, and there's definitely some lag issues there. Look at them skipping from side to side. Kuni eventually almost goes into the side of Ayumu Sasaki and they get away with it, but goodness gracious me, there's just a little bit of lag there.
Certainly didn't help Yuki Kuni's line selection there, as we did see him go on the grass and get it nice and crossed up, all motocross style, as that was Barry Baltus just showing his displeasure. It's like Jeremy Alcoba being ahead of him in second place, just giving him a little nudge there.
The Iceman Jeremy Alcoba then, or at least that's what his gamer tag says, or Ice52. At the moment, winning this battle over Barry Baltus, who incidentally his gamer tag is Titty Barry. I think the less said about that, the better.
Yeah,
but
certainly. We'll
put in a good performance so far from the debutant Titty Barry. Barry Baltus as the race leader. Stefano Nepa continues to clear off at the front of this one. He's not getting much TV coverage because he's that dominant. He's away with it at the front. Meanwhile, let's have a look at this battle between the two Moto3 rookies. Jeremy Alcoba, as you rightly said, Jack, the reigning and defending junior Moto3 world champion, up against the Belgian Barry Baltus, and it's Baltus who's just got the better of him here as they'll go left and then right. But Alcoba hanging on around the outside. He got the inside line. He runs wide though, which allows Baltus to get back underneath once again. They're going to go past the wing here on the right hand side, side by side, as they're going to be hard on the brakes right in a second. Baltus just about looks like he's going to hold on, and he has done as well, with Alcoba just running slightly wide. Good battle going on between the two youngsters there.
It certainly was. Barry Baltus, maybe his first race in the World Championship, it may be virtual as well, but he was showing a lot of composure there, not getting phased at all by a little bit of close elbow and barging there.
No, he's going to be star of the future, is Barry Baltus. Incidentally, if you've not heard why he's named Barry from Belgium, that's because his family are big Barry Sheen fans. He ran the number 7 in the Junior World Championship as well, but going to run the number 70 this year. Meanwhile, here comes Alcoba, fights back down the back straight, with Baltus again looking to hold on around the outside, but Alcoba looks as though he's just nipped back in front of Baltus for second place, but if anything, those opening few laps is anything to go by. I think that's going to be momentarily more than anything else. Meanwhile, what's happening there is Jaume Massey. I heard a squeal from him, Eminem look-alike. He's not going particularly well. Qualifying was definitely a good judge. Last place at the moment. I don't think that's possibly because of an incident he's just had.
It certainly looked like it. He threw his hands up there. I don't know if anyone just caught that on the camera there in the top right-hand corner. But now we're looking back towards Yuki Kuni, who's still trying to chase down Ayumu Sasaki. Turns out that he hasn't got anywhere near him in the last couple of laps. Ayumu obviously pretty quick. As we do know, Ayumu is pretty fast in real life anyway, so you wouldn't expect anything less in the virtual world. We'll have to see if we can catch up with him, maybe use that slipstream, as we see these two slipstreaming now onto the Hangar Straight. seems that Barry Baltus hasn't let this one go yet. Look at him smiling away. He knows what he's about to do. He's about to dive up the inside, I feel like, or maybe around the outside.
Oh, that is
even on
brave.
the grass.
It's audacious from Baltus, trying to go around the outside. He's on the grass as well. That's definitely not going to work. Looks like he's got a good run though. He's going to definitely look to squeeze up the inside here. But no, Alcoba good on the brakes as well.
Late on the brakes. Extremely good, as you do say there, Jack. Barry just trying to get that cut back again. It looks like his Alcoba goes a little bit wide. See if he can use that wide line to slingshot him down onto the international straight. Doesn't look like it. Barry's coming alongside again. The second lap in the row. These two have gone side by side. As they throw it into Abbey, it seems that Alcoba's just forced him out this time.
It's a great battle between these two, the two youngsters putting on a real show for you here. Stefano Neppa, meanwhile, he's just rubbing his hands together out front. Oh, as Baltus goes down, he clips the rear wheel of Alcoba. And that is the end of that in that battle for second place. Well, it was 3 laps of absolute box office stuff, but it's come to an end as Baltus clips the rear wheel of Alcoba and goes head over heels into the gravel trap. What a shame for the debutant. Where's he slipped down to now? 5th place for Baltus, so he's lost out on a couple of places as a result of that one. Great shame for him because he definitely had the pace and the form to be challenging for a podium. It looks as though that may well be just out of the question now, although he's not a million miles behind. Sasaki, yes, is 4 seconds adrift of Alcoba now, but Cooney's less than a second behind him and Baltus is less than 2 seconds behind them, so plenty of chance for him to get back into the podium hunt.
Certainly. Another man who was looking for a little chance there was Maximilian Koffler, as he was just trying to dive up the inside of Kaito Toba. Really hard on the brakes, another rookie of course, and he's looking to make an impression on the man who has actually won in the Moto3 class before, Kaito Toba.
Yeah, of course, won the Qatar Grand Prix at the beginning of last year in 2019. Now with the Akiaya Red Bull KTM squad for 2020. Here's the race leader then, Stefano Neppa, now over 5 seconds clear of Jeremy Alcoba. He's never won a Moto3 race before as the Italian. He's certainly on course to do it here at Silverstone. Meanwhile, here's the battle for 4th place. Yuki Cooney, the man that you're looking at, the number 92 there. We've now got Barry Baltus for company, the Belgian, just trying to recover. Well, he's not going to recover by doing that. He just went, he didn't even bother braking. Who's that that's joined him in the gravel trap as well? Then there was 2 that went down there, was there?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Cooney himself, was it not?
No, I think Cooney got away with it. Oh no, he did. Cooney went down as well, of course he did, because he got absolutely torpedoed by Baltus.
Got completely sniped at the end of the straight.
Now suddenly, I don't know if you could hear that in your headphones, Jack, but I swear there was a real...
¿Ya estás o no?
Our only British competitor, John McPhee, is now into podium contention, maybe. Well, I'm probably getting a little bit ahead of myself. He's 6.5 seconds behind his former teammate Ayumu Sasaki, but McPhee, the Flying Scotsman, is up to 4th. We could have a great British podium finisher in the British Grand Prix, Jack.
We certainly could. Imagine that. No rain at Silverstone and a British man on the podium. It doesn't happen very often. I think the last person to do that, maybe was it Cal Crutchlow? Was it 2016, something like that? I can't remember, to be honest. I know in the Premier class, but not too sure about the lower classes.
It's been too long. It's been too long. Maybe John McPhee's going to finally put it to an end here. He needs to find quite a chunky time now, and unfortunately, Sasaki's advantage is only growing rather than being reduced at the moment. Meanwhile, we're about to have only a lap and a half remaining, and we're focusing on Barry Baltus again at war with Yuki Cooney. With Cooney holding off the Belgians so far.
He certainly is, but quite nervous because, as we did see just about half a lap ago, he got completely KO'd at the end of the back straight. So as they come on to a new lap, it is lap 5 of 6. There's about 2 laps of pressure left for Yuki Cooney. Let's see if he can withstand to it. Barry Baltus, he's been pretty quick, as though he does take quite a, shall we say, pushing the track limits there on that one. I think Jack, and he's pushing it again. He's all the way on the grass, coming now down into Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, through Cops. He got it a little bit wrong, and he's got it wrong once again this time as he flicked right into Maggots. A 3rd crash for Barry Baltus. Youthful exuberance, I think we can put it down to, in his debut race. He's got a little bit carried away from himself. He should have been on the podium, really, if he'd have held it together, because he's got the pace to do it. If he puts 1 lap dash together, he's inside the top 3 fastest guys out there. But unfortunately, as we've seen throughout all of the virtual races that we've had over the past month or so. If you crash, it will cost you dearly. Meanwhile, here's the battle right at the back of the field. Carlos Tatai and Jaume Masia. They're not going to win any prizes today. 12 seconds adrift of everybody else, a lot better than Jaume Masia's 24 seconds adrift in qualifying. But I think we can quite safely say neither of them are going to be eSport World Champions in the near future.
Certainly not. I think they're going to have to put a fair few hundred hours in each of practice first before they get any chance of beating the likes of Trastavere under his age.
Oh, there goes Masia, a huge dive bomb up the inside for 9th place. These two, well, they're just messing about. This is quite simply, ladies and gentlemen, two kids having a bit of a laugh.
Certainly is, and that's what these virtual races are really for, so we can all just see a bit of racing and have some fun at the same time.
Meanwhile, Stefano Nepa, no such messing about from him. He's only got a handful of corners to go before he'll be starting his final lap here at Silverstone. An unbelievable performance so far from the Italian. 7 seconds clear of Alcoba. He's not put a foot wrong all day.
He's certainly not, and we have to give some credit to Jeremy Alcoba as well, because we haven't really mentioned him too much. We saw him in a little few battles at the start of the race there, but as soon as he got into second place, he's been pretty faultless as well. It's just a shame that Stefano Nepa was so far out front by the time he did get through to that second place.
There is Alcoba at the number 52, a fairly lonely second place at the moment. He's got Sasaki behind him, right on cue. There is the Red Bull KTM Tech Twat man. The number 71 on board. He's got a fairly comfortable advantage as well over John McPhee.
He certainly does, Jack. Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't really want to spoil the party here, but I don't think we're going to see a British man on the podium. It looks like that 5 second gap, 5.5 seconds, is just a little bit too far for John McPhee to close in on a Yuma Sasaki.
Yeah, the gaps have really grown throughout the field now. The only two that are battling is for Japanese prides to make sure that they're not the final of the Japanese riders. We've got 3 of them here today in the Yuma Sasaki, Kaito Toba and Yuki Kuni. And now Kuni and Toba are going wheel to wheel on the final lap to make sure they don't get the wooden spoon.
Well, you say wheel to wheel, but I did see Toba there just having a little chuckle to himself because he took an outrageous line onto the hanger straight. I think he cut about 100 metres out of the course, so you know, he's obviously making sure he doesn't get caught up for that position.
He needs to be careful though, because there is of course penalties on there. You'll be able to see that red exclamation mark down the right hand side indicates who has a penalty, and so far Carlos Tatai, the only man not to have a penalty. So well done Carlos, a moral victory for you. We'll have to have a look at the final results to see how big a penalty Kaito will have picked up for that one. Meanwhile, talking of the battle of the Japanese riders, we saw a flash of a Yuma Sasaki. He's definitely going to win the battle and pick up a 3rd place podium finish as well. Well, who's going to pick up the second best out of those 3? Currently, it's Kuni that leads the way, having squeezed up the inside of Kaito Toba into the final half a lap here at Silverstone. Onto the back straight very shortly, a superb passing opportunity, going hard on the brakes, down in towards Brooklands. Who's going to get the best drive down the Wellington Straight? So far it's Kuni that leads the way. Here comes Toba though. We'll have to wait and see, because crossing the line is your race winner Stefano Nepo, and they both go down. No, Kuni survives somehow. I have no idea how. Toba goes down, so it's Kuni that's going to pick up the best spot, or the second best spot of our Japanese riders. Meanwhile, on the podium, Alcoba takes 2nd. Here comes Ayuma Sasaki in 3rd place. Delighted with that one. A fist pump from Ayumi. And John McPhee takes 4th place, just missing out on the podium in front of his home fans. Yuki Kuni there in 5th, Barry Baltus in 6th, Max Koffler in 7th, and Kaito Toba, having been cleaned out in the final stages, in the final sector, has to settle for 8th. Meanwhile, both Carlos Tatai and Jaume Masia celebrate for being so slow that they don't even get to cross the line. At least they took part. That's the worst award though. You don't want to win that on PE day, do you?
Yeah, you don't really want the participation award, do you? You kind of want one of the top 3 prizes, and generally you want the first one.
Well, talking of having taken the first prize, that went the way of Stefano Nepa. Let's go and speak with him and the other guys now. There we go then, that's the final race of this Michelin Virtual British Grand Prix. Done and dusted, and it was a dominant win in the end for Aspar Team's Stefano Nepa. We'll speak to him very shortly, but the first man on the podium is Red Bull KTM Tech Twi's Ayuma Sasaki. A bit of a fortunate podium, Ayumu. You took benefit from Barry Baltus having a few crashes, but a podium nevertheless. How happy are you to be standing on the rostrum?
Well, I'm so happy. I had like quite qualifying, starting from 7. My start was incredible. I went to 7 in the first corners, so yeah, I'm pretty happy about today. I improved my lap time quite a lot. So yeah, I'm happy to finish 3rd on the podium, and yeah, I'm so happy to be on the podium.
And the best thing I'm sure for you as well is the fact that in the final laps you managed to keep your teammate from last year, John McPhee, behind you as well. I'm sure the pressure was piling on, but it's nice to beat John.
Lucky you, mate. There's a first for everything.
And another first.
I can see you, so I was like, holy shit.
Apologies
Yeah.
for the language, but we can get a gist of how Ayumu was feeling on the last
Yeah.
couple of laps there.
I think we'll forgive him for that one there, Jack. Another man who's going to be pretty happy will be 2nd place, Jeremy Alcoba. Jeremy, you had quite a lot of pressure there for a few laps from Barry Baltus before he actually crashed as he just touched the back of you. How happy are you with 2nd place?
Yes, I'm not happy because in the online, in the world, I'm 2nd in this track. But now I don't know what happened. Impossible to do more faster than 11.1. Nepa was really fast. For me, Baltus not was a problem because I know that I have a little bit more pace. But I think that Nepa knows about if you go out, don't.
Some track limits, maybe.
Yes. This.
Okay. Any truth to that, Stefano? Maybe some track limits coming into play there?
No, I did just one. Sorry, go, Jeremy, go.
No, explain.
No, I did just one track limit. During the race, penalty was 3/10, only 3/10.
I think we can forgive it either way.
He's got away with it. But aside from that, Stefano, it was a fairly easy win in the end. You've won by some margin. You must have been doing some practice. Jeremy said he was 2nd on the global leaderboard. So you top?
No. In the global standings, I'm I think P7 or P6. But
still pretty quick.
But yeah, the in the race the pace was incredible. Always 2:10, and was a good race. But it's better to win in reality. I'm happy for my first win in the virtual race, but better in the reality.
Well, hopefully you don't have to wait too much longer to try and taste a real-life victory in the Moto3 World Championship. Thank you very much to all of you guys, all 10 of you joining us from all around the world. A huge thank you to everyone from Moto2 and MotoGP that joined us earlier on as well. And that's about it, Jack. Who would have thought it? 3
Certainly
races live from Silverstone. It was nice to pop back home for the afternoon,
It
wasn't
certainly was. Silverstone, it's a classic Grand Prix track. It's always good to see the guys go around there. Certainly is.
A huge thank you to Jack Gorst. I, of course, have been Jack Appleyard for the past hour or so. And don't forget that you can head over to MotoGP's Instagram in the next 10 minutes or so, where we'll be having a debrief with all 3 of today's winners. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.